studio and on YouTube tomorrow. But hour 2 and 3, my friend and colleague, Dr. Nicolai Corte, will step in and guest host second and third hours of the show. Hour 2, we'll be talking about voters of every generation. Well, not every generation, but Gen Z versus millennial versus Gen X voters. And we'll have representatives from each of those groups to talk about it. And you, of course, are invited in, as always. In hour 3, we'll be hearing from award-winning poet and former gubernatorial candidate Luis Rodriguez. So that should be a fascinating conversation, as it always is. Right now, though, it's time to talk about reparations. And joining me to do that is an organizer with Black Lives Matter LA. She's a mama, and she is active on many issues and organizations beyond her day-to-day work as an organizer with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, which of course is the first chapter that put boots on the ground to the Black Lives Matter movement. Jan Williams, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. Thank you for coming in. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you. I know I'm on the mend. I'm just being careful. But Jan, I mean, most people do know you from BLM, and perhaps they don't realize how Black Lives Matter, one of the things that y'all do focus on to some degree is reparations, right?
Yes. I've been doing the work as part of CJEC since I think maybe 2018, 2019, when we all came together and started working with Dr. Weber's office after just, doing some work collaboratively together. So I've been with them for a while.
So obviously, part of that work with Dr. Weber's office was the task force came into being. There was a 2-year task force, California first in the nation. It was comprised of a bunch of people, and including Attorney Camilla Moore, who was chair, was on this show on Friday. And then Senator Steve Bradford was part of that, as was Assembly Member Reggie Jones Sawyer. Out of that 1,200-page report and a 70-page executive summary came recommendations. Out of those recommendations, the California Legislative Black Caucus put out about 14 bills. It could be slightly off, but I think it's 14. And then there were another 3 that Senator Bradford put out on his own. And most people have been tracking those closely or loosely to see what concrete steps we would be able to take in the first legislative session after the task force, right?
Right. Thank you for summarizing that. That was a couple of years. And you were able to summarize it into just like a minute, but that's happened over quite a few years now. And, we're at the moment where folks would have been able to see something tangible happen with reparations, move us closer than we've ever been. And we still are closer than we ever been to reparations, right, in California. But, on this moment, last week at the end of the legislative cycle, we had these bills that the CLBC essentially was ignoring, right? They got Steve Bradford had 3 bills that was outside of those initial 14 that the CLBC put out. And those were bills that we have been working with and tracking, helping to get through each cycle. And so at that last week, we were expecting to have a big victory, right? To have these bills voted on and passed and sent to the governor's desk. We knew that Bradford had the votes to pass them, so we were expecting a celebration, not everything that ended up happening. Which, are you ready to start taking that deep dive?
let's go on into that.
This is where it gets juicy.
Yeah, because we had, as I mentioned, Attorney Camilla Moore and Friday Jones, aka Kanza Muhammad, who called me late on Thursday night, very late, and ended up coming on the show first thing Friday morning because there was alarm that these bills, 1403, which would create a Freedmen's Bureau, and SB 1331, which would create a reparations funding mechanism, they had passed out of the California State Senate, waiting for a vote on the floor, that they would not be brought to the floor, and asking people to get in a caravan and go to Sacramento to make it known that that we needed these bills passed. And you were in that caravan.
Yes, I headed up there, my first time ever going up to Sacramento for a bill like this. Yeah, this was something that was so important to me that I couldn't miss being in the room and witnessing what happened. So Friday, on Friday, pretty much we spent our whole day making phone calls directly to these different legislators, Lori Wilson's office, the chair, the governor's office, Reggie Jones Sawyer's office. He was the floor manager of the bill, who was supposed to call these bills up for a vote. So we spent time calling all of them to pressure them, to do the right thing. Black folks, the state that we're in California, I know that, Black folks are suffering all across the country, but particularly here in California, where I see what's happening to our people, we've been pushed out all the way to less than 6%, I think, of the population that is, as a result of the conditions that Black people face. Hard to get employment, hard to get housing, even when you are employed. It's, you see Black folks suffering, dying on the streets, literally every day, dying in peril. And this issue is not something that should be played with and toiled with for folks who just have political ambition, right? This is real. This is people's lives. Our ancestors, our people have been sacrificed for centuries, right? And we're at this pinnacle moment, and to face such betrayal by people who literally could not look us in our face, literally could not look us in our face, turn their back on us, as they, oh my goodness, are we name dropping here?
Well, look, let's talk about what that betrayal means. You say betrayal. We skipped over the part. You're making phone calls, right? You're in Sacramento now, trying to lobby lawmakers to bring this bill to the floor. Something we thought was a given, that there would be a vote on the floor. Bradford thought he had the votes, but that's never guaranteed. But at least we thought we would see a vote. When we come forward, we're going to talk about what happened next and why there was no vote on the floor, and what happened next. What was all the ruckus? Why are people so angry? Because people are pretty angry right now. And give you a couple minutes to contemplate whether you want to name names. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Tabitha Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
Are you wet shaving? You'll get razor bumps.
Nah, Pops, I'm good with Gillette Skin Guard. How long you been growing that beard Mama hates anyway?
Since 77. I shaved and got ingrown so bad.
That's why I use the Gillette Skin Guard razor, face scrub, shave gel, and moisturizer. So I don't have to worry about new razor bumps or shaving irritation.
Gillette Skin Guard, huh? Your mama's gonna love this one.
The best a man can get keeps getting better with Gillette Skin Guard. Buy now at a retailer near
I
you.
spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what part politics play in our lives.
Questions about black voters, their disengagement, lack of information, and support or lack thereof for Democratic candidates have once again taken center stage as Democrats, Republicans, and independent candidates compete for this critical voting bloc. Will black voters abandon Democrats in this election, move historic numbers of votes toward the Republican nominee, or will they continue a decades-long trend of overperforming for Democratic candidates up and down the ballot? The stakes have never been higher for Black America. Tune in to KBLA's new show, The Black Pack, hosted by veteran political strategist Adrian Shropshire, every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for a breakdown of the issues, rhetoric, polling, and more this election year. It's The Black Pack with Adrian Shropshire, Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we're talking with Jan Williams. Certainly, we will be talking about this issue all week and beyond. I know there's a town hall meeting taking place on the issue of reparations and the California Legislative Black Caucus, next steps. That's going to be happening tomorrow evening at the Center for Black Power in Leimert Park. But Jan Williams, what happens next? You've been calling people all day, and now you're up in the Capitol building trying to lobby or rally the California Legislative Black Caucus, which is made up of 12 lawmakers who represent various districts in the Assembly of California, which is our Congress for the state, right? And there are 12 of them who are African American. And so you're at the Capitol, you're hearing there will be no vote, right?
Right. And I'll just tell the story from my narrative. So
okay.
The night before, the relationship I have, my assembly person is Isaac Bryan. So I reached out to him with the concerns that I have, like, what is going on? Why are you guys waiting? What is happening? And Isaac was transparent. He said that the folks are deciding not to vote on it. They're saying Bradford went rogue and they didn't agree with these bills. But he was trying to work to move them, right? So this is before I get to the Capitol. So now I'm there. Like I said, it was my first time, so I didn't even understand what the experience was going to look like. So folks lobbyists hang out in the literal lobby of the of the State House, and the Assembly people come over to across this little turnstile and speak to the folks, right? Speak to their lobbyists, take notes from them or whatever. So when Isaac came out of the elevator, he came out and he spoke to us. Him and Chris Lodson had some spoke back and forth. He talked about what he was trying to do, and he said told us who are the folks that are not moving. And
point of clarification, Isaac Bryan is the Assembly member for the 55th District of California,
yes.
My Assembly member, and Chris Lodson is with CJEC.
Oh, yeah.
California
Yeah,
for,
sorry.
Coalition for Just and Equitable California.
Yes, thank you for that clarity. I'm telling the story like I'm at the kitchen table.
It's all good.
And so they had their words, and then Isaac, of course, had to go in and take care of his duties. But as the other Assembly members came out, we're all standing there and calling them to come over and speak to us, and they're not even looking our way. And there's dozens of us at first, and then there's 100 of us, and then there's 200 of us, right? And we are very loud, and we are there, and we cannot be ignored. Other Assembly folks and journalists come over to talk to us to find out what are you here for and everything. But our Assembly members, our Congressional Black Caucus members who knew why we were there, turned their backs on us and would not come to speak. A lot of these people I don't know just by their face. I know Isaac because I've known Isaac for a long time before he was an Assembly member, of course. So Akilah Weber, she was standing right in front of me talking to another lobbyist. I didn't know that's who she was. And someone else recognized her, and when they called her. So I was, like, Akilah Weber, like, we worked with your mom to get us this far. Why are you not continuing her legacy? At first she walked away from me, and I called her. I said, how are you going to spend all this time talking to this white man and you won't come and speak to us, right? And so she came back. Yeah, it was crazy, Dominique. My mind was getting blown minute after minute. And she came back and she spoke. She just listened to me again, urge her to bring these bills to the floor to a vote. Don't betray, don't stop the work. Let's keep moving forward. And she just said that the bill is out of her hands. And she did one of those, hands to my face, turned around and walked away. And I'm just like, what? And so it was a lot. And we saw Chairwoman Lori Wilson, again, ignoring us. Corey Jackson from Riverside, ignoring us. Mike Gibson. This is hours of us being outside and watching them walk back and forth as they're, doing whatever their business is. And maybe about almost 4:00, a journalist comes out to us and tells us that the CLBC released a statement saying that that they were pulling the bills from the floor. And we tried to read the statement, but I didn't read it all at that time. It was just like, oh my gosh. And right after she did that, Reggie Jones Sawyer comes out and he kind of does this like little hackling, like, ha, 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 laughing at us. Like, why is this funny?
Wow.
Like, why is this funny? He's termed out. He's been a scandalous elected for decades, and this is the last thing that he does to end his, at the end of his career, when he could have done something really courageous. He decides to be a coward instead.
Now, why do you say he's scandalous for decades? And I mean, he was part of the reparations task force. It just seems odd that he would have that attitude.
I don't know. I'm saying he's been scandalous for decades because I'm upset. But I know that but at this moment, I don't know what he's done to move anything forward in his 30 years for Black folks. I currently live, because I moved last year, I live in the district that he represents, and it's, I don't know the assembly district, but the council district is Current Price's area, and it's horrible over here. So what has he been doing for his people and for his district? I don't see it. I don't see it. There's homeless encampments all over the place. I don't know what he's been doing, but at this point, it felt to him like it was funny to leave this as his legacy, and so we want to make sure that his legacy is that he failed the Black community at the end of his term. That's what he decided to do. That's what he decided to do, was not represent.
There's a lot of rumors flying around about why this happened and what the decision really was. Tavis Smiley will have Steve Bradford on his show, by the way, today. So this will continue during his show, this conversation. But you said that Assemblymember Bryan cited Steve Bradford and the fact that he had gone rogue, according to certain people. I have heard that behind the scenes from various people. I have also heard that, in fact, Chris Lodgson and others saying that it was because they didn't want to defy the governor, that Governor Gavin Newsom was not planning to sign this, and they didn't want it to fail. I have heard that Bradford rejected those amendments, and so thus the governor would not sign it, and that that negotiation process around those amendments should have included the entire CLBC. But the bottom line is we are at a crossroads in history after this historic 2-year task force. And it seems to me that regardless of what the politics are of the assembly, or even whether it would pass or fail, that we the people are owed an up or down vote on these important pieces of legislation. SB 1403, which would have established a freedmen's agency in the state, and SB 1331, which represents a reparations fund or funding mechanism. These are two basic building blocks of being able to move forward with a larger cash reparations program, or being able to administer any other kinds of programs. And some folks say, well, this can be handled through nonprofits, or it can be handled through existing agencies. But for me, the importance of having these mechanisms in place and having this important evidence of the 2 years of work of the task force is very important and should supersede all of these other considerations, even if it is to be voted down. To me, let the governor vote it down. I want to hear what they told you. Next steps, we'll look at their statement and the organizing that's going on next after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Chicago man is facing murder charges for shooting 4 passengers on a commuter train. Investigators say 30-year-old Ronnie Davis, who is African American, was wearing a mask when he shot and killed 4 people on a Chicago train early Monday. Hotel workers around the country are threatening to expand their strike after their union and hotel companies failed to reach a contract deal. Around 10,000 people hit the picket lines in places like San Francisco, Seattle, and Boston during the long Labor Day holiday. The Mega Millions jackpot is now up to $740 million. Nobody matched all 6 numbers in last night's drawing for $680 million, so the grand prize in the nationwide lottery will roll over to Friday's drawing and be worth an estimated $740 million. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hey DQ fans, mark your calendars. Thursday, July 25th is Miracle Treat Day 2024. $1 or more of every Blizzard treat sold at participating DQ locations benefits your local children's hospital. Remember, July 25th, only at DQ. Happy, taste good.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Francis Tiafoe is edging closer to his first Grand Slam tennis championship. The 26-year-old African-American star advanced to the semifinals of the U.S. Open. Tiafoe was leading Grigor Dimitrov of Bulgaria when Dimitrov quit the match in the 4th set because of an injury. Tiafoe had a 4-1 lead in the 4th set and had won 2 of the first 3 sets. The native of Hyattsville, Maryland, will play fellow American Taylor Fritz in Friday's semifinals. Tiafoe is trying to become the first African-American male to win the U.S. Open since Arthur Ashe in 1968. He's also trying to become the first American male to win the U.S. Open since Andy Roddick in 2006. Mookie Betts hit a 3-run homer in the 10th inning to spark the Dodgers to a 6-2 win over the Angels Tuesday night in Anaheim. A sellout crowd of over 44,000 filled Anaheim Stadium to see the return of Dodger star Shohei Ohtani. The Japanese icon played his first 6 seasons with the Angels. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
They say the hardest part of getting something done is getting started. Well, we did that 30 years ago when California first took on the tobacco industry. Now, smoking is down 60%, lung cancer 42%. A couple of our cities have already ended tobacco sales. A California without big tobacco isn't just possible, it's already happening. See our progress at undo.org.
To help combat climate change, LADWP is helping neighborhoods have better access to electric vehicles by awarding nearly $130 million in EV rebates to customers just like you. From big savings on used EVs to building new charging plazas, LADWP is charging ahead to help all Angelenos experience the benefits of EVs. Get rebates of up to $4,000 for a used EV and $1,750 for a charger. Learn more at ladwp.com/EV. That's ladwp.com/EV.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looks like Bobby needs a ride again.
Grab the keys. Let's take our auntie to the swap meet. Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, do it all in a Chevy SUV. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $2,860 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8% plus finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
Hey, LA residents, it's planting season and the perfect time to get shade trees growing around your home. LADWP and City Plants are giving every resident up to 7 free trees. That's right, 7 free trees delivered right to your door. Trees are great for the environment, help improve air quality, and can help you save on your bill when you use less air conditioning to stay cool indoors. Learn more at ladwp.com/free trees. That's ladwp.com/free trees.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
You know, I am quite sure that history will not look kindly on this moment. And I believe that whatever their reasons, some of them sincere, perhaps thinking that they can bring back a more comprehensive bill next session, or they think that Bradford went rogue, or they don't want to push something through that loses because maybe they think it's a setback or whatever their reasons. I think this was a mistake, that this needed to be passed for symbolic and also practical reasons, or at least voted on, even if it failed. And I believe what you're describing and what I've heard Jan Williams from others who were there at the Capitol, the disrespect and the disregard of the constituents by many in the CLBC is something that I believe they'll come to regret if they don't already, because number one, we elect you and pay your salary. And number two, perhaps you're underestimating the importance of real progress on this reparations issue for your constituents, for Black Californians. I know it's not a popular issue with the so-called mainstream of America, people who are not Black, et cetera, but for your constituents, it's very, very important. And I hope one good thing that comes out of this is that legislators are figuring that out.
That's right. And then just to bring it back, Dominique, they said that he went rogue, and like, we're learning information in real time, right? They said that he went rogue, but factually, they were all co-authors on the bill. So how can he go rogue when you were a co-author on the bill? There are folks who played their part in moving the bill forward through the legislative process. So they are recorded as supporting the bills, right, through the legislative process, but then played to hide your hand at the end when it comes time to vote to kill the bill. After we learned about the amendment that had come from Newsom's office, he was basically trying to turn this into another 2-year study bill. And righteously so, Steve Bradford rejected that. We already had a 2-year task force, and he's writing bills based off of that. So there's no need for another 2-year study bill. And he also proposed taking $6 million from funding that we want to allocate in implementation of the Freedmen's Agency to go to Cal State, to the Cal States to do research. And as I read the amendment, it says do this until this $6 million is exhausted. So there's not even a timeline on it. And then, so again, just to bring it back to what happened that day, after they released the letter that they were pulling the bills, some of us left to go get lunch and come back, right? This is about 5, 6 in the evening or something like that. And while we were traveling back to the Capitol, we hear from the folks that are there that there was a Republican bill. His name is Bilal Saleh, who actually made a motion to bring the bills back to the floor for a vote. And he was, there's the person who's calling up the bills at the front, said he was out of order and turned his mic off.
But you know that. I mean, I heard that too, but that is Republicans trying to pimp the moment.
Yeah, he also
does Assemblyman Bill Saleh have a track record of supporting anything that furthers the interest of Black people or reparations? No.
This isn't anything we know about him. We just know that he had come out and spoke with us. We didn't, we don't know these folks by face. There were folks who were coming out and talking to us, and he said that, he felt that we had a right to be heard. He saw the energy of all of the people, and rather he used it to be divisive or not, he tried to bring it back, and they killed the bill. And so a while later, one of the things that he saw was that he didn't have a second on his motion to move it forward. So he went and got the rule book because they said that he was violating some rule. So he went and got a rule book and also someone to second his motion. And at that time, that's when, if you saw the video of, so that was what he was going to do before the end of the session, bring it back with the rule book to show that he had a right to bring these back. And that was when you saw the video that came out with Isaac Bryan standing in front of him and preventing him from moving the bills forward. And so, it was just all of the, you say that you're working hard to move these things, but your actions are saying that you're doing everything to block the bills from being moved forward. So it was a big disappointment. We were there until the end of the session after midnight before we went, got on the road and headed back. And, at that point, it started feeling for me pretty surreal because it was like, what just happened? Yeah, there was all this frustration that this happened to us. But then as we started to realize, it's like, okay, now we see the game, because this was an education process, Dominique, that I didn't know of, and I think a lot of us didn't know about the legislative process, about how people are assigned as floor managers and how these bills move through the floor. So it's like now we have answers to other things that we didn't know. And so as we move forward, we feel like we got a lesson on what things to check off to make sure are in
I think
place,
that's lesson one, though. I mean, I want to talk when we come forward about
Dominique.
It's lesson one. Because I'm looking at Bill Asaley's website, for example. Here's a press release. Assembly member Bill Asaley applauds Supreme Court for outlawing affirmative action. So, what is next? How do you hold your representatives and purported allies accountable without playing yourself to the hands of people like Asaley, who, I guess he could have made that move and maybe it would have moved it forward. How many Republicans would really have voted for it? Why was Assemblymember Bryan stopping him? I'm hoping to have members of the CLBC on this show in the days ahead. I know some have been invited to the town hall tomorrow. I'm not sure what will happen with that. But I also know there's a tremendous amount of organizing going on right now to not only bring back these bills and win these battles, but to look at what consequences need to be for those lawmakers for ignoring the will of their constituents and not even listening to their voices at the state capitol.
Yeah, there's definitely. I'll just quote Chris Lodson. Yesterday's price is not today's price. The price has gone up. The price has gone up. So we're coming back stronger with even larger demand, and with the information that we have to hold people's feet to the fire. And we're also looking to build another, grow with another 1,000 volunteers to help us move forward. I mean, this is throughout the state. We, our folks are here in LA. We have folks up north, but we need to grow our movement and our organizations with folks who are focused on advocating to see our reparations realized here in California. And with that, we need people power. We need people that are ready to be boots on the ground with us, right now.
Yeah.
So we need to grow that. So we'll have like the call to action. I can have people text me so that I can add you to our calls to action as we move forward, because right now we're looking to grow the movement. Use this opportunity to grow our movement.
You want to give a number for folks to text?
Sure. If you want to be boots on the ground for reparations and you're ready to fight hard, fight long, text me and just text me with your name and put reparations now. My phone number is 424-204-2539. Just put your name in there so I can save you. Put reparations now, and I'll make sure that you're linked in for all the work that we have moving forward. Yeah, it's 424-204-2539.
That's a mighty wave for sure. Folks are fired up, and as we should be. And I'm happy to see folks standing up for reparations. What are the next steps? We'll look at that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hey there, it's Karen.
And I'm Ernest. We're the co-hosts of Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest here on KBLA Talk 1580. Make sure you check us out Saturdays at 8 p.m.
And our rebroadcast happens on Sundays at 7 p.m. We'll be talking about the art of dining. We'll be giving food tips, talking to sommeliers, chefs, concierges, all the food influencers, everything food, everything dining. And sometimes with some of our friends just hanging out and talking food.
And when you listen to our show, we have a segment called Hot Dishes. Sometimes unpopular opinions, but we said what we said and we meant what we meant.
Also, we do food reviews with who's hot and who's not.
Yeah, you make sure you guys check out Food for Thought with Karen and Ernest here on KBLA. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer whenever I want? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. 94% of Sleep Number smart sleepers report better sleep. And now, during our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Plus free home delivery on select smart beds when you add any base. Ends Labor Day. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
The moment we've all been waiting for has finally arrived. On Tuesday, September 10th at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump will square off in their first ever presidential debate. KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress are hosting a viewing party, and we're inviting you to join us for an evening of civic engagement, great food, and good vibes. Our studio space is limited, but if you would like to join us, just go to our website at kbla1580.com and register for your chance to watch this historic presidential debate with us. Years from now, we're all likely to remember exactly where we were when this pivotal moment in American politics unfolded. So, register for your chance to join us by going to kbla1580.com right now. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Talking with Jan Williams. She's an organizer with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and a member of CJEC since at least 2019. Also, she was there in Sacramento when all of this went down with the California Legislative Black Caucus. So they put out a statement, which was not real satisfying. It says that the short version of what they said, that this bill, basically they say that Bradford went rogue without saying it. They say it in nice language. They say one of the primary concerns with the bill is that it ceded legislative oversight authority, which is critical given the generational impact. We are well past the amendment deadline. Therefore, the decision was made to continue working on the bill. So they're saying they're going to bring that back next time. And that is 1403, which is the Freedmen's Agency. Then with 1331, which is a reparations funding mechanism, they say the CLBC will not be moving it forward this year. The bill is not part of our 2024 reparations priority legislative package. Therefore, questions should be directed to the author's office, meaning Senator Steve Bradford. I think it's a dismissive statement. And while I understand that they did pass some things this year that they're happy about, and some that I'm happy about, nothing. These are important. These are foundational, right? They pass 3089, Joan Sawyer, it's an apology. 135, Weber, that's like another apology, kind of. And then Bradford's bill for restoring property unjustly taken through race-based eminent domain. And then there's AB 1815, which is like the Crown Act, the sequel, which to me, that's not really reparations, but okay. So these are the things they passed that were part of their priority package. And they're saying setting up a funding mechanism for reparations is not a priority for them. It's very problematic. And what I don't understand is why there was no communication. I mean, Bradford and Joan Sawyer, who are both legislators, were on the task force with Chair Camila Moore. Why wouldn't they reach out and say, this is what we're thinking? These are the obstacles that we're facing.
Right.
So what's next?
And Reggie John Sawyer was the one of the floor managers. I don't want to mess up, but Reggie John Sawyer was supposed to bring one to speak to the floor, and then Mia Bonta was assigned to bring the other one. One was 1331 and one was 1403. And neither of them did that. But yeah, it's a huge disappointment, and those bills that they passed that they're calling reparations isn't going to do anything to stop the bleeding of Black folks in our communities. We have people, dying on the streets every day, and I don't think sending a notification that a grocery store is closing is gonna help.
I don't know if that one passed.
People. I don't know, but
I don't know if it did. But in any case, your point is taken.
That's not reparations.
I personally think an apology is good because it strengthens the legal claim. I think there's some good stuff there, but it doesn't rise to the level of creating an agency or a funding mechanism. In any case, what's next? We're going to keep talking about this all week. We've got folks in tomorrow and Friday. But what's next, in your opinion, Jan Williams?
In my opinion, we keep building. Again, like we use this opportunity to grow the movement. We do need more people to get involved with this work. We really need more people to get involved with this work. So I'll just put my number out there again. My number is 424-204-2539. Send my phone a text message, give me your name, put reparations now, and I will make sure you're plugged in to help us advance the work of reparations in California. There's a political price to pay. We know when those tapes leaked with the Latino leaders and inside from the county Fed, they all paid a political price, right?
Except for Kevin De Leon.
We see him about to lose his reelection. We hope that he's about to lose his, but that's still 3 out of 4 that step down.
He paid a price, but not big enough.
Yeah, right. So I think that these folks betrayed us just the same. They smiled in our face. They tell us that they're working with us, but then behind closed doors, they're working to sabotage our work. So we can't let that go unforgiven. We have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. They have showed their hands, and we just have to be, gear up for the next battle and make sure that we win because, we know what we're dealing with now.
Well, I certainly look forward to seeing the response from some of the legislators who I know, as you know them personally, and I know they've done good work, and I don't understand what happened here, but certainly it cannot stand. No. Jan Williams, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for inviting me, Dominique.
I'll see you Thursday at the town hall.
All right.
Look, Dr. Nicolai Corte, who is the political director, national political director for KBLA, has been kind enough to let me go back to my recovery here, but I'll be in the studio tomorrow. and I'll be on YouTube. I'll be looking forward to getting back with you. We've got some incredible guests joining us tomorrow. So I will see you then. I'm leaving you in great hands. Our 3, Luis Rodriguez, our 2 generations of voters at this crucial juncture. All that's coming up after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A Chicago man is facing murder charges for shooting 4 passengers on a commuter train. Investigators say 30-year-old Ronnie Davis, who is African American, was wearing a mask when he shot and killed 4 people on a Chicago train early Monday. Hotel workers around the country are threatening to expand their strike after their union and hotel companies failed to reach a contract deal. Around 10,000 people hit the picket lines in places like San Francisco, Seattle, and Boston during the long Labor Day holiday. The Mega Millions jackpot is now up to $740 million. Nobody matched all 6 numbers in last night's drawing for $680 million, so the grand prize in the nationwide lottery will roll over to Friday's drawing and be worth an estimated $740 million. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Hey DQ fans, mark your calendars. Thursday, July 25th is Miracle Treat Day 2024. $1 or more of every Blizzard treat sold at participating DQ locations benefits your local children's hospital. Remember, July 25th, only